Welcome back and thank you very much for sticking around. Radanyamai is on sign language interpretation. I am Stanley Iringita. Now, in Tiaty sub-county, once a stronghold of banditry and fear, a former feared bandit commander known as Kalimo has laid down his gun, embraced faith and taken on a new identity as Abednego. Our reporter Faith Ongare narrates how, through the influence of missionaries, church-led mentorship and education programs, he is now guiding young boys away from violence, helping rewrite the future of a religion long trapped in cycles of raids, revenge and bloodshed.
Deep inside Kongor, one of the most remote and lawless corners of Tahiti, tucked between the rugged Tahiti Hills and the unforgiving plains bordering Turkana and West Pokot counties, lives a man whose name once echoed through the Kerio and Suguta valleys with terror. Villagers call him Abednego, but for more than 30 years, this was a man known by a different name, one that emptied homesteads, halted livestock caravans, and sent security officers retreating. Kalimo. In Pokot, Atau Kalimo means a person who has killed. And for decades, that is exactly what he was. The unchallenged chief bandit commander whose reign stretched across multiple borders. With 5 firearms, access to a network of raiders, and nearly 100 armed men under his instruction, Kalimo orchestrated deadly raids, cross-border attacks, ambushes, and revenge missions that devastated communities for generations. In villages like Capedo, Lamelo, Kasarani, and parts of Baringo, Kongor was whispered about as a graveyard of warriors and an area many entered but few returned from. The terrain itself protected him, no mobile network, no government structures, treacherous roads accessible only by the toughest 4-wheel drives. For Kalimo, Kongor wasn't just home. It was headquarters, where his 5 wives lived, where his children grew, and where his men regrouped after each raid. But the cost of his notoriety was steep. He watched friends die. He buried enemies and he lost his own son during a raid they had planned together, a memory he still struggles to speak about. He survived gunfights, ambushes, and even a lion attack. With each escape, the legend of Kalimo grew darker, larger, more feared. Then, in a village where bullets often speak louder than words, something unexpected arrived. Missionaries, and among them, Reverend Samson Chesney.
We have several churches surrounding Kongor now. Actually, to be precise, we have 7 churches, and we have a school with over 300 children. And we've seen the transformation, because by that time, even the hataya, people could only have the shukas, the ladies could walk without clothes. without the top clothes. And right now you can see the difference that the people have really been transformed, and we really thank God.
When Samson first came to Kongor in 2018, he found no functioning school, no church, and a community fully entrenched in banditry. The school structure had been converted into shops and an armory. Faith had no space here, violence did. Slowly, the Reverend began visiting homesteads, praying with families, and speaking to warriors, men who had never imagined life without a gun.
Right now, we no longer see those guns because they have submitted their guns to the government, and they have changed their worldview, and they are now doing businesses.
Among those who paused long enough to listen was Kalimo. After months of conversations, questions, and private battles only he understood, Kalimo made a decision that shocked his men, his family, and even his enemies. He laid down his gun and walked into church. Earlier this year, he surrendered the last firearm in his possession and chose a new identity. Abednego, a public break from a past defined by death and fear. Change did not stop there. Abednego brought all his children to church. He enrolled them in schools, something he had never experienced, embraced a new calling, and was soon appointed a church elder and later the chairman of Christian Rite of Passage program. Traditionally, Pokot boys undergo seclusion for up to 4 months learning Moranism, teachings that often glorify violence, early marriages, and defiance of authority. Many emerge hardened, ready to join raiding groups. But under Abednego's leadership, and with support from Compassion International, history shifted. 89 boys underwent circumcision and mentorship under Christian, non-violent, modern teachings, emphasizing education, discipline, peace, and personal development. Caleb Munyoki of Compassion International says the boys have chosen to weaponize their minds with education, rejecting a legacy of violence for one of potential and peace. A survey by the organization confirmed what many suspected, that traditional circumcision schools often prepare boys psychologically for war. Mentorship is now proving to be a powerful antidote, reshaping attitudes from within.
Clearly, you can see that those young men are going places. We're going to have doctors, we're going to have people who are going to come back and change corrects for good.
Abednego's transformation sent shockwaves through the entire bandit world. Among the first to follow him was Peter Rionokol, once a feared sharpshooter on both sides of a border. Today, he's a pastor in Silale, preaching peace to the same communities he once haunted.
Hiyo vitu wote mimi nimevaa sianga na mambo mengi. Naweza kuenda. Naenda polepole. Roho Mtakatifu anafundisha mimi. Mimi niko na usuda kabisa kwa hiyo neno la Mungu. Kwa sababu mimi hakuenda shule, hakuna mtu anaenda kufundisha mimi mambo ya kusoma, lakini sasa hii mimi nasoma neno la Mungu.
Area MCA Sam Locales and the county CEC for devolution applauded these changes, noting that Moranism and banditry has set Haiti back for decades. They urged the government to intensify disarmament efforts and invest in border schools to bring children from different communities together, because peace begins in a classroom.
Mimi nafurahi sana nikirudi hapa kama waziri wenu wa usalama ya kwamba nyinyi Pokot wa Tiaty constituency na Marakwet wa Marakwet East constituency mmerudiana, mnaishi pamoja kama ndugu na dada, na mmetoa bunduki katika mikono ya wananchi. Bunduki sasa imepita 1000 ambayo imetolewa kutoka Baringo, West Pokot na hapa imefika 1200, lakini bado.
Wewe unafikiria zamani Bishop ungekuja hapa ati Kalmoi na kina Locales na kina Lokalinya wangekukubalia ufanye hiyo? Hiyo ingekuwa ngumu. Lakini asante kwa sababu ya Reverend Chesing alianza na mindset change ya hawa wazee. Sasa wakati alianza kushughulikia vichwa ya hawa wazee, wazee wakakubali kuembrace hii maneno mazuri, na tumeweza kushuhudia sasa leo.
Community leader Maureen Limashep echoes this, saying without schools for nomadic families, we cannot stop these cycles. Children must learn together to live together.
Boda kama hii ndio inaweza leta watu kwa pamoja. Kwa hivyo Reverend, ombi lako, mimi najua ukiandika hii ni nomadic school na tunataka ikuwe center of excellence.
His new life is quieter, slower, but villagers say the transformation has brought back a kind of peace they never imagined possible. The man once known for taking life is now guiding young men into a future where education, not an AK-47, defines manhood. In the heart of Tahiti, far from authority and far from the world's attention, a former warlord has chosen peace, and in doing so, he has begun to rewrite the story of an entire generation. From the dust of Kongor to the pews of a small church, Abednego's journey proves that even in Kenya's fiercest battlegrounds, peace is still possible, one transformed warrior and one educated boy at a time. Faith Wangari for TV 47.